All right, good to see everybody. Good to be back home. Let's go ahead.
Coach, if the only thing you knew about two teams in a football game is one was more physical than the other, how much would you be willing to wager which one was going to win?
What was the other thing that I knew?
The only thing you know is how that one
Oh,
team was
that's
more
the only
physical.
thing?
Yeah, that's the only thing you know.
I think it's just important to play that way. I mean, I don't think that games can go all sorts of different directions. I mean, turnover differential are really important. How physical you play does factor into that, I would imagine. How you affect the quarterback is going to be a big indicator. Situational football, all those things are important. But I mean, it's a driving force behind how we want to play it and how we want kind of our formula of how we want to win games. So it's important to us to play that way.
When you look at the Saints, it looks like they want to run the ball and use Kamara. What can you tell about his running style and the way they're using him?
Well, yeah, he's been a really good player for a while now in our league. He's got a kind of a smooth speed about him, where he has accelerate. It's such a smoothness to his running style. Doesn't lack physicality. It's just smoother. Change of direction. You know, obviously the contact balance, body control, all that type of stuff is there. And then him catching the ball to the backfield has always been something that you have to account for with him. And he's playing at a high level right now, so they're doing a good job.
Those yards out of the backfield, there have been some of those yards week 1 and week 2 for opposing running backs.
Yep.
Is that a point to address, or are you just willing to give that up if you can stop the
No,
ground?
we know we need to be better on the catch and run stuff, especially with the backs.
The Saints run cover 0 at the third highest rate, and opponents are averaging negative yards when they're doing it. What does it take to be a good cover 0 team?
Well, I think you got to be. You have to be able to be. You have to be able to adjust when you're not anticipating and they're running it. You have to be able to anticipate it and call it and beat it when they're in it, and then you have to be able to identify it and get to answers when you see it. So it's kind of all those different things, and we practice those things all the time on both sides of the ball, and it really just comes down to execution. You know, playing on time, getting ID'd right, blocking it up, and go making a play. So, yeah, it'd be a good test for us.
How do you practice physicality in today's NFL with what you're limited to do?
Well, it's tough. I mean, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like lowering the tempo so your bodies can recover. You know, I guess the answer is what's best for the team and how your guys are going to play the best moving forward. I mean, like today we're in pads. It's going to be important for us to, practice hard, practice with physicality, also take care of one another, work on our pad level. I think the fundamentals are really important. If your fundamentals are strong, it lends the ability to play with more physicality, so you're not out of whack. You can be in power positions and things like that.
When do you decide to go, well, okay, specifically this week, why are you in pads today?
Just felt like we need it. We need to stay sharp. We need to work our pad level. Things on both sides of the ball that we're always chasing, and this is a good opportunity. On Wednesdays, it's a physical day, and so let's go get after it.
How does that what have you learned since last year to this year in that regard, of when to put the gas down and when to give them some time off?
I think the philosophy is the same. Better feel for what tempos we need and when. I think you're also just looking at just probably a more open mind on how you can adjust kind of the levers that go into a practice, whether for whatever we need that week. There's some things we did last week we wouldn't have done last year, but I think that goes for off-season program. It goes for kind of all levels of our programs. Same philosophy.
You talked Monday a little bit about in the rotation at running back with Ken and Zach. The style you guys want to play and how physical that particular position is, do you almost need two starters in a sense at running back in the NFL?
Well, I think you need multiple really good backs. I mean, don't give me the history lesson here, but I just feel like in recent history, it's hard for it to be one bell cow all the time. And all these great rushing offenses, really any great offense needs multiple backs. So I think we're fortunate to have the guys we have.
Has that been a mindset shift for offenses or offensive coordinators? Because there's also the train of thought of letting one of those guys get in a rhythm and just go, and
Sure.
you want to make sure that you feed them. So has there had to be flipping the switch?
Well, yeah, there's a balance there, of course. You know, like, from my experience, I haven't like subbed running backs, you know, in my history, but it's like defensive linemen or linebackers that you're rotating out. It's like if someone gets a hot hand, they're playing great, probably going to let them have a little more carries. Or it's not like there's just kind of a art to it, I guess, and it comes down to how your guys are doing and what's going on that day.
The tush push with AJ, when did that start to seem like a possibility for you guys? Because that seems like a play that you really can't really work on or get a feel for how good you're going to be at it in the spring.
Yeah, we've been working on it all off season. I mean, get the ball handling so important, so you got to stack all those reps coming out of the huddle.
With Byron, statistically, obviously, Sunday was kind of a breakthrough day, but was that kind of a matter of he just kind of had the opportunities? Are you seeing his play really progress from last year? At least?
Yeah, I think I feel like I've answered Byron's questions pretty consistently over the last year because I feel like he's played at that level. So I think it's more of a function of just I'm happy that now the numbers are there, I guess. But I think the tape tells a similar story of how well he's playing. But production does matter, obviously. I mean, especially individually. So I'm happy that he was able to get the production he got on Sunday.
Josh Jobe, you talked about his work ethic a lot, his approach, but maybe just with his game specifically, is there anything that really makes him stand out in his coverage, a technique, or anything like that he's really adept at?
Yeah, I would say just his complete game right now. I mean, he was one to work on. There's areas in game that I like his attitude, like knowing what he wanted to work out and going in the off season, having a plan for it, attacking it, playing the ball late in the down has been really good, and that's easier said than done. It's just a constant to me. What I'm seeing from a lot of our guys is what takes you to the next level all the time. Because once you get to a certain level, it's hard to keep leveling up, and it takes a lot of work to get that incremental gain. So, you know, staying the course, staying hungry about finding things to get better at, staying determined with that type of stuff. Not maybe get to a plateau, but you gotta kind of work through all those things. So it's that constant attention to detail that I think lends himself to be able to improve consistently.
Are you talking about like playing the ball late in the down? You mean like in a scramble plaster situation, or
yeah, like when you're in phase with a guy or out of phase on down the field throws. Yeah, not necessarily on a scramble drill.
Chenna didn't play a ton his first game back in a while. I assume you'll probably want to ramp him up. But just what do you see so far, just getting him back out there?
Well, it's just great to have him back. He's gonna continually. It's not easy to just step in your first NFL experience and go and play a game, but it's a great first step. It's a great foundation. I think he gained confidence. We're in a position now where I think you can see some sort of increase to some sort of degree over the next X amount of time. I mean, we're not going to just stick at that play level as long as he's feeling well. So, but it also lets have a little bit more rotation at the edge position. So it's kind of good for him, good for everybody type of thing.
You mentioned that you're not getting as many quick wins in the pass rush as you'd like to see. How much do you attribute that to players winning one-on-ones versus scheme and getting guys set up in the right way?
I think it's kind of everything. I mean, there's some situations where you want to be able to get to pass rush solutions on not necessarily conventional pass downs, so we can be better in that area. I think we got to stick to our process when we are in some of those pass down situations where it did improve probably from the first game, but it's somewhere that we want to be the best in the world at it, and you got to keep improving. So, how you work together, how you identify situations, all the work that you put on through the week, so you're not just inventing stuff on Sunday. It's stuff that you've worked on throughout the week.
Your secondary's been fairly tested in terms of injuries a couple of weeks in with Nick, with Devin. Would you say that the depth of that unit at large is a strength, that you guys have been able to weather those injuries fairly well these first
Well, I think when we talk about the 70, that's a critical part of our team, and I think is going to be something that we're going to be leaning on to have success over the course of the year, whether it's our DBs or whatever position. There's going to be times where a position's low on guys, and we're going to be dependent on those guys to step up and go play. And they did that this week, and that's great. But every week we're going to be dealing with that sort of thing. That's the nature of our business.
Darian Kendrick hadn't played a lot, statistically, hadn't played a lot of nickel prior to coming to you guys or prior to this year. What did you guys see in him that thought you could kind of?
Well, it's a great example of our personnel staff, Willie, identifying guys that fit our kind of style of ball, our type of guys, and the skill set that we asked from those positions. And then coming in and look, I mean, when you get into the season, it's not like the coaches are. It's our personnel staff that are scouring the league on possible opportunities, and then as coaches, having the open mind of taking a guy in and going to work and just being all in on the process to get him ready to play. So, tip of the cap to everybody involved.
Who came up with the term "Ready Squad"?
That's a great question. I mean, we were scrimmaging out some names that weren't good. I guess we brought them to like a test audience. They it failed. I think it just paints a good picture, right, of what you're trying to create. You want a feeling of growth. You want a feeling of everybody. I think it's pretty good.
What was the worst name that got thrown out?
Probably can't say it.
You've talked about, I think even in the context of Josh and maybe some other guys who have come up and been ready, and you kind of view it as like you're excited to see like guys who haven't played yet. Have you always kind of taken the positive outlook on that, or was that something?
No. You learn to think like that. You learn how important it is when these things come about having developmental mindset throughout your whole team, on how you coach guys, and how having a development plan for everybody in your program. And I've been on the other end of it too, where guys have had to play and you're, not feeling so great, not as confident. And it's like, well, why live like this? You don't have to live like that. And fortunately, we've been in situations where guys have played, and you're like, man, this guy's been, kicking butt, and all the stuff that we've seen him, behind closed doors. Like, man, I can't wait for him to go rip it on Sunday, just in a different area and have his opportunity. So it just seems like it just felt like that was the best way to go, and that married with John's philosophy too. So it's been fun putting that together.
Did something happen maybe to change your outlook on that?
Yeah, just don't be a miserable person. Be a growth-minded person.
Mike, you talked about the rotation at edge rush. What did you get from Boye Mafe, and what do you need for him to continue? You did talk about continual.
Yeah, well, one of Boye's superpowers is some of those quick wins. We saw it on Sunday. His best reps are as good as anybody in the league. It's just, but down in and down out. I think he's playing at a high level right now, and he's showing that he can be a 3-down, every down player, and not just a situational pass rusher. So I think that's a big compliment to him. And just look, we're in week 3. Are we satisfied as a team? No, we want to, or as individuals, absolutely not. We want to keep chasing this thing so we can keep developing. So my message to him was just stick to the process, doing a great job. Find the incremental gains and go to work.
Are you expecting?
Everybody says stick to the process. Every coach says that.
Yeah.
But how do you get players to buy in? Is it communication, leadership from captains?
Yeah, I mean, you have to show. It kind of depends. I mean, if you got a bunch of vets, you lean on them to show them the way. If you got not as many vets, it's probably more on the coaches. You just got to have a good feel for your team and what people are bringing to the table. It's ultimately my job to steer the ship on where we want to go, and that's the messaging coming down from all of our coaches. But I think if you place an emphasis on it, you kind of get what you emphasize to a certain extent. But if you just live like going through the motions, well, that's not the motions is not the process. The process is getting after it every day and finding incremental gains and finding better ways to do it, and making the process better. Like, that's part of the process too. Is if the inputs aren't right, we'll tweak the inputs. So you can get the outputs you want. So I mean, I know that's our mentality here. I can't speak for everybody else, but it's what we believe in.
Are you expecting Nick and Devin to practice today?
No, they will not practice today, Nick and Devin. I'm so nickname based, but they won't practice today.
Going back a decade ago when you first started in Baltimore, what do you remember about the year you spent on that staff with Gary Kubiak?
Man, it was great. Got a lot of coffee. He was there early. Originally, when I got hired, I was kind of slotted to work for him on offense. I was going to be an offensive intern, and man, I was juiced. I got to work for Gary Kubiak. Like, it's pretty awesome. And I got there, and they're like, "Well, you're going to be on defense." That's a pretty good consolation prize. You get to work for the Ravens defense, but just such a steadfast force with Gary, the humility, the teaching. I thought was just like the expertise and like the simplicity, like how he made it come to life. I made such great things come to life that seemed complicated, but the guys could get. I thought that was really cool. Dedication to running the ball. He treated everybody with respect in the building. I thought that was awesome. Just, you don't have to talk to a guy like me, but he's always asking about Georgia and background, and anytime he came across, he was in a good mood, and just a ton of respect for him. It was a great experience.
I still remember a story you told, or parts of it, about like an early offensive meeting in training camp. Something he said about running the ball.
Oh yeah, he was like, hey guys, look, we're gonna run the ball, okay? We're gonna run the damn ball, and we did.
Mike, what have you thought about Elijah Arroyo's first 2 games for you?
I think he's off to a great start. Another guy that, hey, we got our foot in the ground now. Let's step on the gas. Let's keep going. Mac's doing a tremendous job with him. The vets in the room are teaching him a lot of ball, and I think what I'm most impressed with on his start is how hard he's playing, and that's going to take him a long way in this league.
When you look at the Saints' defensive front, there's a couple of vets on there. What have you seen through the first couple of games? And I'm thinking Granderson last week in particular.
Yeah, well, they play hard. They play physical. They play a lot like how we want to play, like square. And they put 5 guys on the line a lot. They're doing a good job. They're doing a really good job.
All 3 of the Saints' touchdown passes came to a slot receiver this past week. What do offenses? How do they stress defenses differently when they feature slot receivers in that way more than outside boundary receivers?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can go any different direction. You got to account for probably more of the route tree, attack more middle of the field. It's a good question. I haven't really thought about it that much, but that's off the top of my head.
Where's Arroyo's blocking right now?
I think it's pretty solid. I mean, it's he's doing a good job. He's playing hard.
Grey Zabel, kind of same question. What do you thought of him through so far?
Yeah, I'd just say Gray is steady. Like which is what we need. We need a tough, steadying force in the inside of our offensive line, and I think his chemistry with Charles and Jalen and Olu is really cool. That's what we need our offensive line, and even being a rookie, he's a driving force behind their chemistry, and doesn't feel like he's a rookie. I guess is probably my biggest compliment I can give him.
How's Sundell doing?
He's good. He's good.
You had mentioned Monday there were some injuries from Pittsburgh that you didn't originally know of.
Yeah.
You owe us something there?
Yeah, the sky is not falling. What I've learned is you can't trust me with the injuries. Like, I don't know what I'm talking. I mean, I'm not the expert here. I try to give you as best I can, but within the rules. But I really don't want to give you too much. Sometimes I'm wrong. All comes from a good place, I promise. But yeah, we got a couple guys working through some things, but nothing crazy.
And Mike, I'm not sure how much you want to talk about former players, and it seemed like you guys had a good relationship based on everything we could see. But Gino said a couple days ago in the ESPN article, Gino Smith said that he never really felt like he quite fit here, didn't fit the aesthetic of the organization and all that stuff. Did you ever get any kind of sense of that, or did you have a reaction hearing that?
No, look, I don't have a reaction. You guys were on record on how we feel about Gino. You know how I feel about him. We love him. I mean, I think happy that he's in a great spot. I mean, we all know the history behind it. But we love Gino.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.